Yo, what's up guys? It's Mac from the Rockets Game Corner and I'm back with another video. Today I have got a draft review for you guys. This is our team that we are going to be taking into battle in the Indigo League of Legends Season 4. And we are your returning champions from Season 3. We are the only two-time champion in this league's history. And I think we drafted some really cool Pokemon this year. I'm just going to get straight to the point and try to make this video as short and as sweet as we possibly can. I hope you guys like the little graphics I made for everything. I'm trying to up it a little bit every single year. Every single video I try to make a little bit better, so hopefully this is a leap in the right direction. But yeah, so we as a returning team, there are 5 or 6 new coaches. And as a returning team, we are given the option of franchise tagging a Pokemon and forgoing a draft pick in the first round. And I really like this idea because knowing which Pokemon I have on my team already makes draft planning a whole lot easier for me. I'm able to put Pokemon on my big board that I know for sure mesh well with the Pokemon that I'm going to franchise tag. And I don't have to just kind of guess and hope that I'm going to get a Pokemon in the first round and then draft plan around getting that. There's so many variables just off of your first Pokemon, and the fact that I already have like my staple Pokemon there, I can just go ahead and find Pokemon that mesh very well with that Mon in particular. And as you guys know, if you watched my championship video, if you haven't watched the championship battle, please go watch it. It's a great championship game. It was fantastic. Kudos to my man Roshi. It was his first season in the league, and he did really well to make it to the championship and gave me a definite run for my money. He's definitely a huge contender this year, and I could definitely see him winning. But so the Pokemon that I ended up franchise tagging, as I said in that video, is Keldeo. Keldeo should be on your screen right now, and it should have all the stats there too. I hope you guys like this graphic. Again, trying to improve everything, trying to get better, trying to do all that stuff. But yeah, so Keldeo. The reason I franchise tagged Keldeo was honestly a very simple reason. I told myself whichever Pokemon was the MVP of the Indigo League of Legends championship match, whether it be I obviously felt like Mega Charizard X was the best Pokemon on my team, and I wanted to do the franchise tag because I thought it was a great idea. It definitely helps with draft planning. However, Mega Charizard X got crit. Even though I put special defense investment, he got crit early and he died. Spoiler alerts. But Keldeo, man, Keldeo just powered through and got, I think, 4 or 5 kills in that game. So I pretty much had to give it to Keldeo. It was a hard toss-up between Keldeo and Skarmory. Skarmory did the most work, too. But Keldeo and Skarmory definitely were up there. Keldeo ended up winning in my eyes. So I franchise tagged Keldeo, and the cool thing about franchise tagging Keldeo is, yeah, I'll be using the same Pokemon as I did last year, but I mean, Keldeo kind of does the same thing. Keldeo has a solid like 6 to 8 moves, depending on like which type of hidden power you want to run. And you kind of know what Keldeo is going to do. It's just you kind of can't stop it. As you see, it's got 108 speed and 129 special attack. Those combine for a very ruthless wall breaker. It can be spexed because it's fast enough to outspeed the majority of Mons that aren't scarfed. And it can be scarfed to outspeed those same scarfed Mons, like scarfed, say, Garchomp or things like that. It's able to outspeed a lot of it. And then, honestly, with 91, 90, and 90 across the board on the defenses, it's not going to get one-shotted by that many things either. So it's just a very good Pokemon, and the water fighting type is so good offensively, so underrated, especially the special fighting type. And the fact that Secret Sword hits on the defensive side and not on the special defensive side allows me to get through the wall breakers such as like to get through the walls such as like Chansey and Blissey and things like that. I'm able to kind of mix up my offensive pressure on their defensive core by being able to hit on both sides of the ball, I guess. But yeah, so Keldeo, definitely one of my favorites from the team last year, and I'm pretty happy that I was able to bring it back. As far as my second Pokemon, I wanted to pick a Pokemon that meshed well with Keldeo, obviously, and I wanted to go offense, I wanted to go best available, I wanted kind of like a mix of all of these, and I was actually able to, before we get into all these, I was actually able to, due to some trading last year, I was able to get another first round pick and another second round pick, so I actually had 2 additional picks early on, which makes my early team very good, and my late team kind of, not as good because I didn't have those picks in the later rounds. But we'll see that as we go through. My team's not. I don't know. My team is still pretty deep. But another thing before we get too far into this year we are doing a thing with our league. We like to rotate the rules every 3 years, it seems, where we have Ubers allowed 1 year. We have no tiers, just everything one. I mean, not counting Ubers, obviously, which is this year. And then we have another year where you can only have a certain amount of OU and UU. This year you can have whatever you want. It's just entirely like OU and below, whatever you want there. And then we're also adding in Torrent Greninja and Blaziken. So you can have any of those, any amount of OU, any amount of UU, and it's going to make for every team being extremely powerful this year. And you'll notice it with my team. It's pretty crazy when you don't have a specific like tier that you have to do. I was able to pick up a lot of good mons, and it'll be really, really fun playing with these teams this year. And every game will be just like fireworks of a ton of great teams. Everyone has great mons. It's just going to come down to whoever has the mons that work the best with each other. But anyways, so I digress. We're still on the Keldeo little thingy right now. We haven't gone over to the next Pokemon yet, but I wanted a Pokemon that works very, very well with Keldeo. I also, obviously, early on in the rounds, you kind of have to pick your Fairy Dragon Steel Core kind of early in draft format, because it's one of the most requested, I guess. What everyone tries to get is they try to get their Fairy Steel Dragon Core like right away, because it's so good in league format. It's just disgusting. So I went with Mega Altaria. Mega Altaria was still left at the 6th I think it was 6th overall pick, maybe it was 5, something like that. It was still left there at that, and I was so happy to see that still there. If this was not there, I would have gone with Latios, but fortunately, Mega Altaria was still there for me, so I was able to go for this. I'm only going to put up these stats of the Mega on the thing, because I'm probably not going to run normal Altaria. You never know against a team that runs a lot of weather. I might bring it because Cloud9 is really good, but probably just going to keep it Mega for the majority of the season. It's got 75 HP, 110 defense, 105 special defense. This thing is naturally bulky. It's fantastic. Natural, oh my god, I can't speak tonight. Natural bulk on offensive mons are so good in league format, because you can just naturally sponge things, and then you can set your attack or your special attack to as high as you want it, and be able to cover certain things when they switch in on you. Because you force switches by being how bulky you are. Another thing, Mega Altaria, I really, really wanted Pokemon that had versatility. I was starting off with Keldeo, who doesn't have a lot of versatility, and I wanted the majority of my Pokemon to be able to be ran at least like 2 or 3 different ways. And Mega Altaria, this bitch can be run a lot of different ways. This physical attacker, special attacker, or just like natural. I mean, you can honestly make it like a physical or a special defensive wall because of its typing and just how like naturally bulky it is, as I stated earlier. It's got a BST of 590, which is pretty rad. It's got 80. It gets Dragon Dance. You can Dragon Dance up. It gets Pixelate, Hyper Voice. This thing is just freaking good, dude. It's just freaking good. So now, all right, so as I stated earlier, Fairy Dragon Steel Core, right? We gots to get it. I also like to go best available. So we are actually going to bring back the other choice of the MVP from last season. Somehow this legend was left at the end of the first round. I don't know how, you tell me, because I don't know. But he was still there, Skarmory. In my opinion, the best physically defensive mon in all of the league format. I think on the physically defensive side, as far as a wall goes, Skarmory is the best. It's got all sorts of hazards to set up. Its base attack stat of 80 is nothing to be really laughed at. It can hit you with an Iron Head or a Brave Bird and do pretty decent damage. It gets Roost. It gets Whirlwind. It has Sturdy, so you can't one-shot it. This thing is so good. So good. And the fact that I now have this Fairy Dragon Steel Core in my first 2 picks, because Dragon and Fairy. But we'll mend those spots a little bit later, because we can't actually have them sharing the same thing. But yeah, you know what I mean. Two very, very good picks. They kind of meshed very well together right away. We do kind of have an electric weakness at this point, but it's really not that big of a deal, and we can kind of cater to our electric weakness later on in the draft. Right now, since we're at high picks, I'm trying to focus on what I need the most and also on best available. So there's that. But yeah, Skarmory, not too there's not too many variants that you can run it with, but what it does do is fan-fucking-tastic. So for our next pick, this is our first pick of the second round. So we got back-to-back picks, and I didn't really want to do this, but it kind of helped me in two different ways. Number one, this pick takes a lot of getting rid of Hazard's pressure off of the Skarmory, and number two, it also caters to our electric weakness that we have at the moment. I don't like taking two steel types right away, but we are going to go with the bad boy, Caddyshack. The Excadrill. Excadrill is amazing, right? So it gets all of those good abilities, and I mean by all of those good abilities, I mean basically just Mold Breaker because I don't have Sand on my team. But I mean maybe against like Wamar or somebody that brings Sand, I can bring Sand Rush Excadrill and maybe it'll do something. But yeah, I get Mold Breaker, so I'm able to beat those pesky mons with Levitate like Gengar and like Rotom Wash and stuff like that. I get a 135 base attack stat with a 110 HP stat, which means I'm actually kind of bulky anyway. I can set up rocks, I get to spin stuff away, and the fact that I have Excadrill and Skarmory, although you still just have to pack a fire move basically for each of them, it really takes a lot of pressure off of Skarmory from having to come every single week, because last season I only had one. I had Kabutops as a spinner other than that, but Kabutops can't really come unless there's rain. So there's a lot of pressure on Skarmory to be there every single week, and even though it paid off and Skarmory is a freaking god, I don't want to I want to keep people on their toes this year. I don't want to have to bring Skarmory every single week to deal with stuff. But we'll see how that goes. Excadrill is another one of those Pokemon that kind of, he has different items, I guess, that he can run. Like, you can run the Focus Sash, you could run the Choice Scarf, you could run Bandit, I guess. You could run Life Orb, you could run, whatever it's called, Air Balloon, Excadrill, so you don't get hit by Earthquakes. You can do a lot of, different items with him, but his attacks are always going to be kind of the same. I guess it's is he Scarfed this week? And if he is Scarfed, is he running... I don't know, is he running Rapid Spin if he's Scarfed? If he's Scarfed, he probably doesn't have rocks then. So, there's little variations, but he's still kind of the same thing. And it is what it is. It is what it is. We ended up getting him at that spot. And I'm really, really happy to have him because I've never had Excadrill in League format, and I've seen him used so well against me, and I've never been able to use him myself. And it makes me so, so happy to finally have him. Okay, so for our fourth pick, this one I actually traded. This is our second round pick, so we're still in the second round, which is why these Pokemon are still so godlike right now. I was able to draft Sableye or Mega Sableye, basically, right? Wait, is this? Yeah. Whatever. I don't know what's going on. Whatever. Yeah. Sorry. We were able to trade. Well, so I picked Mega Sableye. I ended up not wanting it because Stall doesn't really fit the playstyle that I wanted to play with this team this season. And although I love the Ghost, I ended up getting a different Ghost that I will talk about in the next pick. Yeah, I traded him for a Pokemon that I think is a lot better, and it fits my playstyle a whole lot more, and it's got pretty good versatility, and that Pokemon is Azumarill. So I also have never used Azumarill in the League format, but I've used Azumarill a ton on a bunch of different teams, and this Pokemon is a monster. At the beginning of X and Y, this thing was running train on literally everyone. This thing, it got a BST boost from 410 to 420, blaze it, for Gen 6, but all they did was add a special attack 10. And if you look at these base stats actually right now, he doesn't look very good. 50 attack, 80 defense, 80 special defense, 100 HP. That's kind of bad. 50 speed, but huge power. This thing is an absolute monster. Huge power, It gets knockoff, it gets play rough, it gets priority aqua jet, it gets waterfall, it gets superpower. I mean, those are the main 5 moves that this thing is going to run. But you can run belly drum, you could run AV, you could run band, you could run, I don't know, you could run like Lumberry, I guess. So you can just stay in and take that burn from whatever thing, like a Sableye, take the burn from the Sableye and then hit it back with a like play rough or something. My voice just cracked. I'm like 23. What the fuck is going on? But yeah, so I really like Azumarill. I really love the Easter Bunny, so Azumarill's gonna be great on this team. I'm very happy with that trade. I'm very happy with that trade for 2 reasons. I feel like it helped out the person that I traded a whole lot, which is Trainer Connor, the guy that I also traded Ferrothorn to last year to get one of these early picks. It helped him out a little bit, and he ended up making the playoffs in the end. So me and him usually have really good trades every year where we like to help each other out. So that's been really cool. Trainer Connor's he's the homie. He's the homie. But after this, we ended up going after that other Pokemon that I was talking about before. But actually we didn't. Okay, I lied. These last 2 picks are both Pokemon that I didn't actually draft. I got them through other people or through whatever. But for my 5th pick, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. For my 5th pick, because Keldeo doesn't count because that was a franchise tag. So for my 5th pick, I picked Celebi. And now Celebi is a Pokemon that I really like. It's really cool. But in League format, it's really bad because so many things get U-turned. So many Pokemon that you don't even understand. Like, honestly, type in a random Pokemon that has a decent special attack stat and go into, like, Showdown or something and check if it has Signal Beam. Because I guarantee it fucking gets Signal Beam. I don't know why everything in this game gets a Bug-type move, but it's ridiculous, dude. It's freaking ridiculous. So I didn't want to keep that anymore, and I decided to switch. I actually dropped it to free agency. So Celebi is on free agency right now. And I picked up this monster, Trevenant. Trevenant is right there. I love me some Trevenant. This Pokemon is amazing. Phantump is probably my favorite Pokemon right now. Oh, God. I just have nostalgia thinking about all the routes with Phantump and Trevenant from X and Y. Such a good game, man. It's such a good game. But back to Trevenant. He has a BST of 474, which is awkward as hell. 474, man, that's just weird. But let's talk about Trevenant. So Trevenant does work every single time it's been in the I.L.L. Trevenant has made its way to the playoffs every single time. And it has been used a whole lot. Trevenant's very, very good on the special defensive side. It is one of the few walls in the game that has natural power offensively. With 110 base attack, this thing gets Horn Leech, it gets Shadow Claw, it gets a couple other things that I can't. I know it gets Poison Jab, and it gets a couple other things that I can't think of off the top of my head. It's also got Harvest, where it can just sit there and harvest its like Citrus Berry over and over again, or harvest the Lumberry over and over again, and then just like rest, and then just it's so stally, so good. But I really wanted a spin blocker because my team in the end has a lot of potential to hazard stack, and I wanted to be able to block rapid spins. So that was the main reason for that, is that I can sit there and block spins. And Trevenant can be really annoying. Trevenant also stops pretty much every single water type in the game. Trevenant's just like, nah, bruh, not today. I mean, maybe Azumarill, but we have Azumarill on our teams. Who cares? Because Azumarill would just knock this thing off. But Azumarill is on our team, so it doesn't even matter. Like, oh, shoot, you got like, I don't know, what, a fucking like Mega Blastoise, and you're going to use Ice Beam? Oh, that's cool, bro. It does like 60%. I eat my Citrus Berry, and then I Horn Leech you, and then I'm back at like full health. Good one. You tried at least. At least you didn't make yourself look too foolish. Oh, you have a Starmie? Same thing. You try to Ice Beam me, and you do like 60%, and then I proc my Citrus, and then I Horn Leech you, and then I'm back at 100, and then just rinse and repeat over and over and over again because I have Harvest. It's so dumb and so good, and that is why this thing is on my team, because it's so freaking good. It's amazing. It does only have 56 speed, but that's fine. We can work with that. Things happen. We can work with that. We can work with that. So, next Pokemon on the team, we didn't have a good pivot, and we didn't have a good switch into T-Wave because a lot of people in this league are freaking scumbags and love to spam T-Wave. So, I mean, we technically did have a switch in for T-Wave. with the Excadrill, but I don't want to switch in the Excadrill on a lot of stuff anyway, unless I know for sure they're going for like an electric move, and if they have the opportunity to go for T-Wave, they could also do something else predicting the Excadrill. But anyways, so we are going to go with Rotom Heat. Rotom Heat's very good in the league format. I faced Rotom Heat was on the championship against me. It was really, really annoying. I played it twice last year, and it was fucking obnoxious. It T-Waved everything. So I was like, you know what? I don't want other people using this against me, so I'm going to get it. Rotom Heat has obviously the same BST as all the other Rotoms except for the normal Rotom. It's got 520, which is so good. 107 defense, 107 special defense. This thing is bulky as shit. And as a natural ghost type, this thing also does have 50 HP because all ghost types apparently have 0 HP. I mean, it's not a ghost type. It's electric and fire, but Rotom is a ghost type. It's just inside a whatever this thing is, like a microwave or some shit. It's got 86 speed. This thing can be... the cool thing about Rotom Heat is its versatility. It can be ran Scarfed. It can be ran bulky. You can run like Chesto Resto. You could run like Lum. You could run like Leftovers, just bulky Will-O-Wisp everything. It's a decently slow Volt Switcher, but can also be a fast Volt Switcher based off of your speed investment. So, I mean, that's pretty cool. Overheat's just generally really good. I didn't have a fire type yet, so Overheat's generally just a really freaking good move. And that's why we picked up Rotom Heat, is because Rotom Heat is really, really good. Really, really good. So next, I picked up Scolipede. Scolipede is a Pokemon that I've never used before. But the cool thing about our league is we do allow Baton Pass, and I have a couple things on my team I'd love to Baton Pass a like speed boost plus like a Swords Dance too. That'd be really sick to get a speed boost and a Swords Dance to like an air ballooned Excadrill, or a Swords Dance and a speed boost to like an Azumarill, or even Trevin, because Trevin has a decent attack stat himself. I mean, like to Altaria, to some Pokemon that I'm going to have later on. It's just really, really good. And honestly, the Poison Stab with the base 100 attack stat is really good, and 112 speed is pretty good as well. It's not as bulky as I'd like. It's pretty frail, actually, with only 60 HP and 89 defense, but with 60 HP, you're not really helping yourself at all. And then 69 69 special defense. So, I mean, it's kind of frail, but it hits very hard. It gets Mega Horn. It gets like Poison Jab and some other poison move I can't think of off the top of my head right now. But it's good, okay? It's really good. I can Baton Pass stuff, and that's the main reason that it is here. So, after this move, I noticed I was kind of having a weakness to fire and ice besides the Rotom Heat. It was putting a lot of pressure on the Rotom Heat to come to like every single... I mean, fire was definitely a problem. And all I had to deal with it was the Keldeo. And so I ended up going with a Pokemon that I think is honestly very, very underrated in the League format. I say the League format a lot because League format is so different than like normal Pokemon. It's crazy. And I honestly think this Pokemon is one of the best in League format, and it's not used nearly enough, and that Pokemon is Snorlax. Snorlax has a godly move pool. Look up this thing's move pool. It's so good. It's like 3 in the morning, so I can't remember all the moves it gets right now, okay? But I swear, promise on my life, it's really, really good. This thing also has 160 HP and 110 special defense. Call it a pseudo Chansey. A broke man's Chansey. That's what this thing is, except for it can actually hit you for a fucking truck because it's 110 attack stat. Its defense is not that good, but its special defense is very, very good. I love the thick fat variant where you just run Assault Vest and then you can hit it with stuff. This thing gets like Heavy Slam, it gets Gunk Shot, it gets all the elemental punches, it gets Body Slam to pair of things. It's just nasty. It's just really, really nasty. It's honestly a lot better than I thought it would be, and it makes me really, really happy to be able to have Snorlax. I wanted it last year, and it got sniped from me early on, so I'm happy to finally have Snorlax on the Rustboro City Stoners. It's going to be a very crucial member of our team this year, and I promise that this thing will put in the most work. It's so good. So good. So, at this point in the draft, you guys know that I am notorious, or you should know that I am notorious for picking kind of like out of nowhere picks for my last 3, and they are they usually end up panning out very well, like Meowstic for me last year, Kabutops for me last year. Things like that aren't really picked very often, but they put in a ton of work. These last 3 Pokemon, I feel like 2 out of the 3 are kind of not used almost ever in League format, but maybe it should be a little bit more, depending on what your League's rule sets are and things like that. But the first one, my third to last pick, we only have 3 picks up. My third to last pick is normal Kyurem. Now, this is the other dragon part to our Dragon Steel Fairy Core in case I didn't want to bring Mega Altaria. This takes a lot of pressure off of bringing the Mega Altaria, and the offensive typing of Dragon and Steel is so freaking good. And this thing's stats are so freaking good. BST of 660. And this thing is still available in the 9th round. 660, 125 HP, 130 attack, 90 defense, 130 special attack, 90 special defense, 95 speed. This thing is a pseudo Mega Altaria. This thing is basically Mega Altaria. Like, it actually has like 60 better BST than Mega Altaria. What the? Why? Why? It's so good. It just doesn't have the fairy and dragon typing that Mega Altaria has. But it gets so many good special moves you can hit from the special side. You can also run it physical. It gets Outrage and like Earthquake and a lot of things on the physical side. It's naturally bulky. It gets access to Roost. It doesn't get priority, but this set, this thing with Substitute and like Leftovers is so good. So good. Just, I mean, the bulky like sub variant you can fire off, because naturally your like Dragon Pulses or your Outrages and your Ice Beams and your Flash Cannons and all that stuff are naturally going to do a lot of damage based off of your 130 attack and special attack stat. So if you put a little bulk into this guy, his typing is honestly pretty good for defense as well. Dragon's just a naturally good typing for defense, and it covers a lot of Ice's actual weaknesses, being one of which being fire for sure. It does take damage from rocks, but it's worth it. I think this thing is a monster for being left this late, and I think it'll do a ton of work this season. This thing is so good. Regular Kyurem is so freaking good, and it's slept on all the time. Like, literally all the time. This thing is God mode. This thing is God mode in League format. Lance showed it last year, but then Lance quit like midway through the season, and people didn't actually see how good this thing is. It's disgusting. Our second to last pick is a pick that we pretty much never see in League format. I don't think I've ever seen it on any team ever. Maybe you guys have, but I haven't. And that Pokemon is Mega Glalie. I'm just showing the regular Glalie form right now because that picture looks sick. But I drafted Mega Glalie for the sheer fact that I think he's a broke man's Mamoswine. And there's a couple teams in this league. I know it's not a very used Pokemon. I'd be using it over Mega Altaria in a matchup. But trust me when I say that I have a plan for this. There's a lot of teams that I've looked at, like at least 3 or 4, where when I play them, I will strongly consider choosing Glalie over Altaria because Glalie puts in that much more work. Ice Shard from a Mega Glalie does so much damage. Refrigerate Return is so good. It gets Explosion, so I can just nuke things. It has a BST of 580, which is only 10 less than Mega Altaria. It's a solid ice typing, so I mean, it's not ×4 to anything. It's got 80s across the board in bulk, so it's not going to get one-shotted by too many things. It's not like fat or anything, but it's not going to get one-shotted by too many things. 100 base speed, not bad. 120 attack and special attack. This thing also gets access to Freeze Dry, so if I need to take care of like Gastrodon or Quagsire or some bullshit like that, I'm able to deal with those effectively. So I think Glalie was a really good pick, and I think that you guys, even though I'm not going to talk too much about it right now, I think you guys will see as the season goes, this thing can definitely put in work, and it definitely will. Shout outs to Shiny Hunter Zach for kind of influencing me to make this pick. I looked into the Pokemon more when I was looking through the Pokemon available because I know that it's his favorite, and I ended up seeing a lot of things that I liked. And I've already ran a lot of calcs for week 1. And if I were to bring it week 1, which I might do, it can put in a ton of work week 1 as well. So we'll see what Mega Glalie is able to do for the rest of the season. And going forward. Our last pick is my favorite, dude. My last pick is so good. It's Pokemon I've never seen used in League format, but it's one of my favorite Pokemon overall. It's a monster. With the Gen 6 move tutor, actually, Oris improved this Pokemon a butt ton. It's like really good now. Okay, it's not really good now, but it's decent now. It's like better, and in League format it's really underrated because of the fact that it gets godly amounts of coverage, and that Pokemon is Ursaring. Now, Ursaring is not used pretty much ever, so and there's obviously a reason for that, and that being that it's kind of frail, and that it's not that fast, and that it gets kind of like hit by everything. But this thing, okay, so with the Gen 5 move tutor moves, this thing gets access to play rough, it gets access to close combat, it gets access to like fucking dynamic punch or some shit. It gets access to gunk shot. I might have already said that. It gets access to the elemental punches. It gets access to a ton of things. It gets access to facade and return. This thing's abilities are so good. This thing gets quick feet, so it like that atrocious speed stat is now not atrocious anymore, because now you're jolly quick feet and your speed is now upwards of 120. So it's so much better than a lot of people think, and it hits with a 130 base attack stat, which is completely ridiculous, which is, I think, either just as much or more than we just saw the Kyurem have. Whew. It's good, okay? And I promise that this thing will win us at least 1 or 2 matches this year. I think it's very good, and we just have to make sure to put it in the right games and the right situations where this thing can shine. And I know I've already looked at a couple teams' cores, and Ursaring just completely shits on their team's defensive cores. So we'll see what happens, but I have faith in Ursaring. I think he's got this. He gets Night Slash also. He doesn't get knockoff, unfortunately. He'd be so much better with knockoff. It'd be crazy. But yeah, this thing is a monster, and I'm really excited to have it on my team. I think he's a really cool Pokemon, and I'm trying to give him the love that he definitely deserves. He hasn't really seen much play from anyone in a long time, so I'm gonna try to shine some light on the man that is Ursaring. But thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate it. I tried to make it short and sweet, but it's like 30 minutes. I tried to go over each Pokemon as best as I could without going too long. Thank you guys for watching. If you watched the whole thing, I really appreciate it. And week 1 will be next Friday, so hope you guys are ready for that upload. I'm ready. We play Master Roshi in a rematch of the championship. Should be hype, should be lit AF. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.